All right, buckle up, everybody, because today we are diving into one of the most fascinating success stories of our time.
Maybe the most
And
fascinating.
maybe the most fascinating. Donald Trump, real estate, reality TV, and then somehow the White House.
You can't make this stuff up.
And here's the twist. We're seeing it all through his eyes, his podcast about his own success.
Okay, now that's interesting. Talk about a self-made narrative.
Right, so can we actually learn something objective from this? That's what we're here to find out.
I'm skeptical, but definitely intrigued.
And look, we all know Trump is a, well, let's just say polarizing figure.
That's putting it mildly.
But for this deep dive, we're leaving all the politics aside, purely focusing on the how. How did he reach these heights? What strategies? What was his mindset?
Agreed. So where do we begin?
Well, both sources talk about his early life. Son of a wealthy developer, military school, Wharton School of Business, you know, the classic recipe for success.
Classic, sure, but does that really explain Trump?
Right. Even he admits in the podcast, those advantages don't tell the whole story.
It's like having the blueprint for a building, but
Yep.
not the know-how to actually build it.
Exactly. So how did he go from blueprint to, well, Trump Tower?
His early career in New York City might give us some clues.
Oh yeah, those early projects, like the Grand Hyatt renovation.
That was a huge gamble.
Huge. Taking this basically forgotten hotel right in Manhattan.
And turning it into a luxury destination.
Vision, man. Pure vision.
Not just vision, don't forget those negotiation skills, tax breaks, incentives. He made the whole thing financially possible.
And then there's Trump Tower itself. Long before The Apprentice, before his name was a global brand, this skyscraper goes up on Fifth Avenue.
1983, a statement.
Bold, ambitious, like this is who I am world.
And this, I think, is where it gets really interesting for anyone trying to build a brand today.
Oh, absolutely. Trump, maybe better than anyone, understood the power of his name, turned it into a symbol.
A symbol of, well, whatever Trump means to you, fill in the blank.
Right. But he was constantly in the news taking risks, stirring up controversy.
Love him or hate him, you knew the name.
You knew the name. Loud, brash, ambitious. That was the image, and he owned it.
And then, The Apprentice. We can't just brush that aside as, oh, it's just a reality show.
No way. It amplified his brand to a whole new level. Millions of people watching him every week.
And not just watching for the competition, but to see him make decisions. Like, is he going to fire someone?
Strategic genius, right?
Right.
Years before any talk of politics, he's building this platform.
A following. Almost like he was. Laying the groundwork without even knowing what for.
It's wild, isn't it? Like he was almost destined for something bigger.
Maybe. But let's not forget the guy faced some major setbacks along the way.
Oh yeah, bankruptcies, lawsuits. The media was constantly on his case.
Most people would crumble under that pressure.
But Trump, he bounced back every time.
There was a lesson there, even for those of us who,
Aren't exactly his biggest fans.
Exactly. That resilience.
Yeah.
That refusal to give up. That's something we can all learn from.
I see your point. But isn't there a danger there too? Like sometimes knowing when to quit is just as important.
That's a good point. Where's the line between perseverance and just being stubborn?
Right. And Trump definitely blurs that line. But he always spins it, you know?
Oh, absolutely. It's never a defeat. It's just...
Look how successful I am. I can even afford to lose.
Exactly. He controls the narrative. And that brings us to another key part of his success.
Which is?
Understanding his audience. Whether it was selling luxury apartments or eventually a political vision.
He always knew how to tap into what people wanted. Or what they were afraid of.
He knew how to connect on an emotional level.
And he went around the gatekeepers, didn't need the media, didn't need the political establishment.
Then, 2015, he announces he's running for president.
And everyone's like, wait, what?
Most thought it was a joke, a publicity stunt.
But looking back, it's clear he was playing a different game altogether.
He goes straight to Twitter, his own direct line to supporters.
Cutting out the middleman. Genius.
And he understood something crucial about social media.
Which is?
Authenticity.
Yeah.
Or at least appearing authentic.
And it worked. He spoke directly to people who felt ignored, forgotten by the elites.
Whether you agreed with his message or not, it resonated.
Big time. It tapped into this frustration, this feeling of being left behind.
And he offered simple solutions. Maybe too simple, some would say.
Right, but that's not the point. The point is he understood how to tap into public sentiment.
Brilliantly, some might say. And against all odds.
He won.
2016. It was a masterclass in, I don't know what to call it.
Unconventional campaigning.
Yeah, that. He bypassed the media, played by his own rules.
And he knew exactly what buttons to push, what fears to exploit.
And he did it all with that,
He Trump style.
Exactly. No filter, no apologies.
Larger than life. He already had the audience from The Apprentice, too. Millions of people who knew his style, his way of talking.
It's almost like that show was a warm-up for this. It's like he saw the future, or at least he saw where things were going.
That blur between entertainment and politics.
Yeah. And it makes you wonder, what does all this say about us?
That's the question that's been bugging me this whole time.
Like Trump's success, especially the political part. What does it tell us about the world we live in?
It feels like this perfect storm. His ambition, those tactics, and this cultural shift that was already happening.
Right. Think about it. Reality TV exploding, social media taking over, news 24/7.
Everyone wanting the next big story.
And personality becomes more important than, well, anything else.
Substance. Who needs substance when you've got a good soundbite?
So are you saying Trump was a product of his time?
Maybe. Like, he didn't invent these trends, but he sure knew how to use them.
He did. He got the whole spectacle thing. Always creating buzz, drama, conflict.
And people ate it up.
They did. But did he create that culture or just exploit what was already there?
Good question. I don't know.
I don't know either. The question for the ages, probably.
But he was definitely in the right place at the right time.
Oh, absolutely. Right place, right time, right skills. And it all led him to
The White House.
the White House, which honestly is kind of scary when you think about it.
It is. Makes you think about what we as a society really care about.
Right. What do we reward? What flaws do we just ignore?
It's like looking in a mirror and not liking what you see.
Exactly. So, okay, big question for our listeners.
What can you take away from all this?
Because regardless of your politics, there are lessons here, big ones.
Okay, I'm listening.
First, awareness. Be aware of what's going on around you, how media, technology, everything. It's all shaping your view of the world.
Right, and not always for the better.
No. Understand how stories work, how to build a brand, connect with people,
Because those are powerful tools.
but they can be used for good or bad. That's the thing.
So it's not enough to just know these tactics.
You got to use them responsibly, ethically.
You think about the consequences,
Exactly.
Yeah.
Trump's story. It's like this big warning sign.
showing both the potential and the danger.
He knew how to communicate, how to build a following, but he also showed how easily those skills can be twisted.
So it's on us to be informed, to think critically.
To not just accept what we're told, but to question it.
Well said.
Because at the end of the day, we all shape the world we live in with our choices, our actions, even our attention.
So that's it, our deep dive into Donald Trump. From real estate to reality TV to somehow the most powerful office in the world.
And it's more than just his story. It's a story about ambition, about branding, about resilience, sure.
But also about the media, about populism, about how we consume information in this crazy age.
It's a lot to process.
It is. But hopefully you found it insightful, thought-provoking.
And maybe even a little inspiring in a weird way.
Who knows? But remember, knowledge is power. Use it wisely, folks.
Until next time, keep diving deeper.